So we have all heard of the Nigerian Prince Scammer, but who has ever heard of a Danish Prince Scammer? What the hell? There's this trending story called the Danish Deception, where this lady says her husband scammed her and her family out of 350 or so $1,000. Yeah? She met this dude randomly and she fell in love with him. And he said he's a Danish prince or royalty. He was an Olympian, only to find out that this dude is a gambling addict with nothing but his height and his Lord Farquaad face.
That motherfucker took $30,000 from me. Keep in mind, he still owes me $6,000 at this point. He said, can you send me $5,000? After some time, he talks me into loaning him the $15,000. I end up loaning him an additional $3K, not even a week after I had already given him $15K. I remember I gave him like a small amount, maybe like $3,000. We ended up going to Portugal for a week. We used my credit cards the majority of this trip. Your ex owes my husband $200,000. And I saw that there was a cash advance for $7,000. My little sister looks at me and she says, he took $3K from me. I find another friend that he owed $10,000 to. My coworkers that I used to work with, husband gave him $10,000 to. And what was in his account? 34 cents.
She was scammed out of over $500,000 by her soulmate, and she shared this story on TikTok, calling it the Danish Deception. It all started in 2022 when Onyeka Ehie met this tall, charming, I have royal ties Danish guy at a beach club in Croatia. Instant chemistry. He flew her to Monaco, paid for luxury hotels, took her to Saint-Tropez. The whole fairy tale. She fell hard, told him she loved him, he said it back, and then that's when things got dark, because suddenly his millions were tied up, the IRS froze his accounts, and he just needed a small loan. $6,000 turned into tens of thousands, while they were planning a life together, even marriage and a green card. But when she visited his family in Denmark, nothing matched his stories. Then she learned he had a massive gambling addiction and had already borrowed $200,000 from her friend's husband, then money from her friends, even $3,000 from her little sister. Every loan came with a new lie, and when he couldn't lie anymore, he simply asked for a divorce and disappeared. Only after he left did she realize the full scale of the cheating, gambling, manipulation, and the $300,000 hole he left behind. She didn't post his name or picture, but the internet did what the internet does, and they found him.
So you're telling me your ex-husband scammed you out of $50,000 and then scammed your sister, your friends, your coworkers, and your parents? Not only did he scam y'all for thousands of dollars, but he also got a green card. Why didn't anyone Google him? If a man is telling me that he owns properties, I'm Googling it. If a man tells me that he was in the Olympics, I'm Googling him. Why didn't anyone Google him? When she asked his family if they were really royalty, I lost it. And I 100% agree with a lot of people's takes where they're saying that he would have never gotten this far if he was a black man. If this was a black man asking her for some money 6 weeks into the relationship, she would have broken up with him. There's no way they would have made it to marriage. I will say that this story time was very entertaining. I was sad. I truthfully hope Netflix or Tyler Perry picks this up.
She forgot to tell y'all one very important detail, which is she wanted mixed babies and her mom and dad wanted mixed grandbabies. But you had on blue eyes and blonde hair colored shades, so that's all you could see is the genetics. You were like, ooh, these genetics are gonna eat down. $5,000? Not a problem. The genetics are gonna eat. And your mom and dad were like, oh, are you both grandbabies are coming? Or you both grandbabies are coming in the house? Are you daft? Are you taking a piss, fam? What do you mean? You send that man your passport details. Are you mad? And if you're not Nigerian, Ghanaian, African, like, you may need to sit out in the comments and let the Africans explain to you what I'm talking about. Because what do you mean your mom and dad were offering to pay for the traditional and this and that and that and the third? Typically, the bride's family is not forking up a motherfucking dime for a wedding. And don't insert Temi or $10. Don't talk about rich people. That's different. Like, my daughter's gonna have what they have different. Typically, the groom is showing up with a dowry. You're paying my dad for raising me, my mom for taking care of me, all that stuff. You're paying my cousins for playing with me. You're paying my uncles for... You're paying people just to take me out the home. Like, you're taking the prize out of the home, so you're paying. In no world is anybody from the bride's family paying for a canopy, a plastic chair, a schnapp, a goat, nothing. The bride's family is not forking up a dime. So the fact that her mom and dad were willing to pay for whatever crazy work, okay? Also, we would never be here if this man was black, African, person of color, whatever, because you would have never lent him $1, let alone 5, 10, 15, 20,000, 30, however much you ended up loaning him.
What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. My good name is Gracie D. I hope you all are doing amazing. Thank you so much for clicking on this episode. I really do appreciate your love and support on this channel. So I came across this video of this Nigerian American woman who got scammed by her white Danish husband. And not only did she get scammed, he also managed to get the green card from their marriage, because this woman was born and raised in the United States of America. So, you know, every time, or in most cases, when you marry a citizen of the United States of America, you actually get to have the green card. And later, after this lady realized that she was being scammed by this man, you know, there were some issues, and later the guy asked for divorce. People keep on asking, especially Africans, like, how did we get colonized? You know, we keep on saying Africans are strong. When you look at the African men, or when you look at black men in general, they are strong. The way they fight, they are also intelligent. But people keep on asking the same questions, especially when you see certain videos and you ask yourselves, like, how did Africa get colonized? Now, this is the same reason why as this lady got scammed by this white, good-looking man, as she says on her videos, is the same way that Africa actually got colonized. So I want us to watch some of these few clips that I've gathered for you guys. And not only did this guy scam this lady, he also scammed her family, like her sister, and her friends. Can you imagine your man is calling your friends and he's asking for money, and they just send the money to your man without even telling you? And you know the reason as to why that is, I'll tell you why at the end of this video, so you have to watch till the end. So let's just watch these videos together, guys. Every clip and every stitch that you'll be seeing on this episode, credits belongs to the original creators of these videos that you're seeing on your screens. So let's watch, and we'll be back with more commentary.
Poverty has saved me once again, because the minute that a rich white man would have started asking me, my family, or my friends for some money, ooh, baby, that would have been a wrap, because we ain't got it.
I watched somebody say that they don't think race had anything to do with what happened in the Danish deception, and I completely disagree. I don't even think race was a background detail. I think it's the structure that made this entire situation possible. Literally, the whole time I watched this 25-part series, I kept asking myself, how is this possible? How did he get away with all of this? And in the end, the only conclusion that made sense was that his race had everything to do with it. For Onyeka, this wasn't simply about being misled. It was shaped by her personal relationship to her blackness, and maybe even the racial messages she absorbed growing up in an African immigrant household. She wasn't just dealing with a man, she was dealing with years of conditioning that whiteness is safer, it's more desirable, more trustworthy. You could see it in how she was describing this man in the beginning of this series, and also how she adapted herself when she was around him. In almost every single picture that I have seen of them together, her hair was straightened. For many black women with low racial self-esteem, straightening their hair around white partners is not just a style choice. In many cases, it's an attempt to fit this Eurocentric standard that they've been taught is more acceptable and more lovable. And this conditioning doesn't come from nowhere. As an African myself, I know that many African immigrant families associate whiteness with competence. This is something I've witnessed firsthand. For example, when I was volunteering at a hospital in Ethiopia, patients would literally point out that their doctors or surgeons were white in a way to like calm their nerves and also reassure themselves that the care that they were receiving would be successful. This type of automatic trust teaches children way before they even start dating that whiteness equals safety and expertise. So when a white, blonde, blue-eyed European man showed interest in her, it wasn't just romance. It activated layers of messaging that were curated through years of conditioning. This is why I think the warning signs didn't land the way that they should have. I don't even think it was because she was naive. I think that it might have been because she was socialized to lower her guard around whiteness. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I truly do believe that if a non-white man had behaved the same exact way, the red flags would have been noticed immediately. So no, the story was not racially neutral. It was shaped with her individual struggle with racial self-esteem, and also maybe the desire to be seen favorably through a white gaze. Also, I'm aware that there are a lot of other structures that allowed everything to unfold the way that it did, but I just wanted to highlight the racial frameworks in this video.
A black man would have never been brave enough to go ask your friends, husbands and stuff for money. They most especially wouldn't have given it to him. I'm not even making this up. I don't know this girl from Adam, never met her, and I dare her to come on here and say I'm lying. If this man was black, if this man was African, if this man was from your damn tribe, from your same village, we wouldn't be here because you wouldn't even look at him, let alone send your passport fucking details. What do you mean? You know why you really lost me? When you had the nerve to talk about something, you were going to the village and he was packing a Rolex watch and you were like, do you know where you're going? We're going to the village. They're going to rob you. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Now you're trying to stop the hustle of your people. I'm kidding. Now they definitely would have robbed his ass. But the reason he was bringing that watch is he knew it wasn't motherfucking real. But honestly though, yeah, just say you wanted mixed babies and we will let it go. But you coming on here, oh, and then have the nerve to talk about something. I took his passport so he couldn't leave, huh? I see you posting about you finally left him and you have peace. No, my love, he left you. How he leave you? Also, very brave of you to be taking trips when you owe somebody money. People are like, oh, she's an African. How did it? Because she's not an African. She's an Africant. Every time I saw you tuck your braids behind your ears, I knew what time it was. Crypto and Kryptonisha, you could have never been in the living room talking about, oh my God, we're going to fix this. If that was a black man, you would have detached. You would have removed yourself from the situation. I don't know how you came to the conclusion of royal title and $400,000 pay. My sister, if somebody has a $400,000 pay you job, they don't borrow $3,000 from you. Hello? Amen? The family is rich. The family is rich. Royal titles. Oh, he kept showing me screenshots and emails. You ever heard of Fiverr? You ever heard of Canva? You ever heard of any type of editing app, tool, PixArt? Email, girl, I could create an email right now. Esquire, JD from who. Send over an email. Yeah. Tax document, this, that. That's what you saw? How was the apartment that you Googled that wasn't his apartment already not sending you in the deep end? Oh, he's going to sell the 2 apartments in Copenhagen. They don't exist, my love. The business account doesn't exist. And after all that, he left you? Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
Danish deception. The only thing deceptive is how the hell y'all taking all these trips. There's a trip in every part, a trip or 2, in fact. Monaco, Paris, Broken Bow, Cartagena. What? Where y'all getting all this money from? Ain't now dollar in his account, but yet y'all catching flights. 34 cents in the account, but you in a villa somewhere. Catching flights and fraud charges, flights and tax bills. And you just soaking it up, believing every minute of it. And Crypto and Cryptisha, they better than me, because you'd have been hearing from my lawyer. How you catching all these flights and you owe me bread, 200 bands? And you in a villa, feet up? I ain't gonna lie, once somebody start having too many troubles, I'd be like, okay, you just... I ain't trying to have you rub off on me. Your daddy got cancer, your mama back broke, your back hurting, you done lost all your money, you getting this coming through, insurance bill. No, you got too much going on right now. You need to figure that out. I don't want your woes to rub off on me. I'm gonna go about my business.
And you know what else is crazy? People saying, oh, don't victim blame. She's not a victim. Guys, somebody, a white man with blue eyes and blonde hair comes to you and says, I am a millionaire. I am royalty. Then the next thing he says is, I need $6,000. Are we victim blaming or are we common sense pointing outing? Which one is it? Like, I feel like the internet loves to do all these like internet-y things. Like, oh, you don't understand. If somebody comes to me and says, I am rich, go buy a Chanel bag. Then 2 days later comes back and says, I need $6,000. I know this is a scheme set up by Todd. Hello? Mind you, this girl, she wasn't even like in her early 20s. If she was like in her late teens, early 20s, I could understand. Homegirl's in her late 30s. You work in real estate, which means you verify people's funds before they let them buy houses. Girl, no funny. I would not even trust you to, I don't want to buy no house from you. Because common sense is running very far from you. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, he deceived you. He deceived you in the same way that people call our phones every day trying to run a scam, telling us that, we owe something on our Verizon bill, etc. What do? You hang up the call. This wasn't that. This wasn't that. And another thing, her allowing this man into her life. Guys, think about it really well, right? When your friend or your sister or your cousin gets a boyfriend, you don't go vetting him. You assume that your relative, your cousin, your whatever, did the work to vet him herself before she allowed him come into your family. So she cost her family all that money. Hello? Hello? What's not clicking? What's not clicking? Like, this isn't about no victim blaming. What millionaire needs $6,000? I think that was the first amount of money that she said that he asked for. What millionaire needs 6,000 US dollars? None. Girl, you work in real estate. Are you serious? You're in your late 20s. Are you serious? You're Igbo. And let's talk about that Igbo-ness of yours. You go to the village, which means there's no Igbo person. First of all, going to the village is such an active thing to do. It's such an active process. You gotta get to Lagos. You gotta hire a bus or get on another plane. Get to your village. Go through. Your parents will tell you, don't greet that auntie. Don't let that person touch you. Don't pick up money from the floor. Don't eat that person's food. Like, it's such an active experience. Not something that you just do and then you just come back to Dallas and you don't know, like, you know the tease. You know a scam. You know to stay away from that cousin, but let that cousin close. You know the vibes. I'm Igbo. Stop playing. So I think she knew she was getting scammed. She was giving him the money to cover it all up. And she liked the idea of him and this white man being together. She knew he was funny style. She didn't mind as long as he was on her arm. The second he gets off her arm, now you're stealing passports and stuff. Sometimes, guys, people are just dumb. And come on the internet and just say, hey guys, I am dumb and this is what I did. Because don't come up here telling me this guy, he overly scammed you. He was so manipulative. He was such a genius. No, he's not. There's no genius, millionaire that needs $6,000 from me. That's the first one. First. I'll say, wow. What's more proof? Proof that he's a millionaire or proof that he asked me for 6K? Are we catching the vibes? And another thing, her saying, I wanted to show him that I wasn't here for his money. What do you mean? If a man tells you he has money, you enjoying the money is not you using him. It's you enjoying the thing that he has. I got jokes. If somebody says, oh, Chi, I don't want you to think I'm with you because you're funny, then why else would you be with me? I got plenty of jokes. Come and get one. Really deconstruct why you did this, why you, Onyeka, Anika, why you did this to your family and friends. Deconstruct it. Because yeah, that man had a part to play, but girl, you had a bigger one. And that's why I always say, when you meet a man, when you're dealing with a man, tell yourself the story of how you guys met and how the relationship is going like a storybook. I've said this already. Don't leave out any details. Don't do ups and downs. Don't skip past. Say it the first day we did it, second day we did it. Because guess what? Once you start saying it to yourself, I'll even do you a better one. Record yourself while you're saying it. Then you can get to the tease of what's going on. Because a lot of people like to play victim instead of just saying, actually, I wasn't that much of a victim. What lady in her late 20s hears that a man is a millionaire, that you can fly all across Europe, but then in the same breath you need 6K? Could make sense, rara. So lady, that's why everybody's blaming you because we're not dumb. Like, I'm not gonna play this internet game of like, oh yeah, but hold on. No, but nothing. There's no millionaire that's gonna ask me for $6,000. And that's just that on that. Okay? Okay, bye guys.
One thing I learned about that Danish dash girl is that they gonna be on a trip. They gonna be on a trip. I'm talking about, I don't give a damn, this man owing me 50 grand. I'm still gonna be on a trip and I'm probably gonna be the one to pay for it. I don't care if his Rolex is turning green. We gonna be on a trip. As long as I got my blonde hair, blue-eyed white knight, I don't give a damn. We gonna be in Portugal. We gonna be in Spain. We gonna be somewhere, Maldives, somewhere. We gonna be on a trip. I don't give a damn that this man told me he royalty. I don't have time to Google that. I don't care that he told me he was in the Olympics. I don't have time to research that and confirm that it's true. However, I do have time to look at airline prices. I know this man told me that he was going to pay me back. I know he said his bank accounts are froze for 72 months. It makes sense. I don't care about that. Babe, let's just go on a trip. We'll talk about it when we get back, okay?
Guys, when I watched this and when I was listening to some of her clips on her TikTok, I'll actually link her TikTok account if you guys want to go and listen to her full story. I was just laughing. I'm not happy for what happened to her. But the reason is, in as much as she's born in the United States of America by immigrant parents from Nigeria, it has just reminded me of how I see African women behaving or acting around Caucasian guys. So the reason as to why I'm saying this is because I've seen very young African women getting married to very old Caucasian men from different parts of Europe and, also in America, as long as their skin is, they get married because in the African society, most people have believed that this skin color equals richness, this skin color equals wealth. I've seen so many ladies who are from Africa who've been married by Caucasian guys. They move to that guy's countries and they actually find out that life is not as they expected. Things are not as they expected, because most of these people are actually not getting married to these guys for love. I would say there is a good number that is actually getting married for love. But when it comes to these women, because you cannot tell me you as a 19, 20 years old lady, you're getting married to a man who is in his 60s, a man who is in over 50s, and you want to tell me that that is love? No, let's just call it what it is. We cannot lie to ourselves. So this lady, what would have led her to actually fall in love with this guy? It's the promises that he made, him saying that he's from a loyalty, he's tech guru and all that, and living in today's world where she could have simply went on ahead and googled to get to know this guy, but she chose to ignore that. And the reason is because in the African community, when it comes to how Africa was colonized, is because people still believe that whiteness equals righteousness, and whiteness also equals rightness. And what this man told this girl, she chose to believe because of his skin color. Honestly, if this was a black man, this would not have happened, trust me. And now thinking about even the sister loaning money to this guy, it's crazy, because when you come to the African society, you find that those ladies that are married to Caucasian men are more respected in the society than those that are actually married by their fellow African men. And for instance, there's this lady who was giving a story, true story, of how when her children go to visit their mother, that is now their grandma, her sister is married to a Caucasian man and she is married to an African man. These kids are treated differently by their grandmother just because these kids are biracial. And this is also the same case. You find that in a family where one sister or one of the family members is married to a Caucasian man or a Caucasian woman, and the other one is married to their fellow African or black man, this that is married to this Caucasian man is treated much better than this one married to the African man, which is quite sad, guys. But this happens, people have experiences even from their own family members. Because let me tell you, probably if they have a brother and was asking for all this money that this guy was asking, especially from the sister would have not led that money to the brother. I'm not even lying, but that is the truth, guys. But she chose to lend money to the sister's husband because, she didn't have any doubt of this man not giving the money back. Reason being, he's white, he has money, of course he's gonna pay back this money. And when it comes to their friends, it's crazy because I've seen so many stories happening, especially in a place like Kenya, when you go to the coast side, where you see girls fighting online, where friends end their friendship because they're fighting over one Caucasian man. And you're thinking, like, what would have led the friends to loan to this man and not even tell the lady? It's because some of these women have expectations, because they're seeing this girl living lavishly and not knowing that she's the one who is like catering for all these trips and paying for everything. And deep down in them, they're just sitting there and hoping that this man will leave their friend for them, because there is no any other explanation that you can give to me as to why they were actually lending money to this guy without even having prior conversation with the woman. If my friend's husband calls me and asks me for money, I will just, want to know why he didn't go through the wife, because I don't understand, unless we are that close, that someone's or a friend's husband is gonna call me and ask me for money. Before me giving that money out, if I have the money, I'll want to have a conversation with my friend. Like, would want to know why he's calling me directly, asking me for money, because it doesn't make sense as to how these ladies give money to these man without even having a conversation with the wife, who is their friend. It's because of this friend that I got to know the husband. So there is no way I'm giving you my money without having a conversation with your wife. I would also want to call my friend and get to know if everything is okay. Like, is your man asking me for 3,000 euros, 3,000 pounds, whatever the amount that he asked for? I would want to know if my friend is okay and why the husband is actually calling me to ask me for money. And this thing has to stop, where so many black people, especially from Africa, automatically believe anything Caucasian people have to say just because of their skin color. Because this is even in our today's society, where you've seen even these very rich people coming to Africa to do things, to do their projects, to try their medicines and their whatever they are doing out there in Africa. And most people are gonna go for that because they believe that this person means no harm. Just because, as I said, they believe that whiteness equals righteousness and whiteness equals rightness. And that there is the problem that we are having in Africa. And there is the reason as to why Africa was colonized, and that is also the reason as to why Africa is where it is today. So this story, when I watched this story, I was not only thinking about this woman, I was also thinking about Africa. And there's so many cases, there's so many people that we can actually mention here that were unalived by their fellow African men because of believing and following what the Caucasian people were telling them back in those days. And now you're seeing what is happening in Burkina Faso. Like, there is a lot that is happening in Africa, and when you actually try to dig the root cause of everything that is happening and everything that happened during colonization, you get to understand that most African people and most black people believe that whiteness equals righteousness, especially Africans, because when it comes to black Americans, they have an experience with the Caucasian people and they already know. So this would have not happened to an African American woman or a black American woman, but it happened to a Nigerian American woman. And you want to ask yourself, like, how did this happen? Like, her being born and raised in the United States of America, she should have known better. But in most cases, even when black Americans are talking and telling people, they don't believe them. Black Americans have been warning about these people for a very long time, but people don't believe them. People just want to be like, no, there is a lot that, especially the African people, talk about black Americans, not all Africans, but there is a good number that is always against black Americans and the warnings that black Americans are always giving out there. But you guys have to understand that in the African society, in most African families, when you as a woman get married to a Caucasian man, you are treated as a royalty here. You are treated as, you are treated special just because you're married to a Caucasian man. And it's crazy, and I never get to understand it, honestly, especially in today's world where you can actually get to learn a lot of things, especially in today's world where you can get to learn the African history by yourself, what these people have actually done to us. I don't have any problem with anyone marrying people from other races, because you can find love from any other race apart from your race. You can actually get married by a person of a different race, and that is okay. The only problem I have is how people have this mentality of, when you're married to a Caucasian man, when you have biracial kids, you are treated special, especially in the African society. That is the only problem that I have. People have to understand that this white man is just the same as a black man. This white man is not righteous more than a black man. It just depends on a personal level how someone is. It's not about, you're not righteous because of your skin color. You're not rich because of your skin color. You're not right because of your skin color. No, it's just a personal decision. And this is why most people are actually getting scammed nowadays by Caucasian men, because they're believing them because of their skin color, and they're like, oh, of course he's wealthy, of course he's rich, there is no way he's gonna scam me. And the reason as to why this lady actually opted to give money to this guy is because she was afraid that this man is gonna leave her and go for someone else, or she was afraid that he'll think she's materialistic. He'll think that he don't want to. I don't care what you think, but I'm not giving you my money. Like, you're coming here telling me that you're a millionaire, you come from a lawyer, you're like a tech guru, and you're borrowing money from me? Hell no. I don't know what you all think, guys, but when I watched this story, I was just laughing. And I wasn't, as I said, I wasn't laughing at her, but just of how the story is and how they actually fell for all these lies. Thank you so much for watching up to this part. I would really love you all to tell me what you think about these on the comments section. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And until the next episode, bye.